Greetings, Nick with Sweetwater here, and in today's short lesson I'm going to show you a diabolically devilish chromatic run that Kirk Hammett of Metallica showed me many years ago. Kirk tortured me with this one when I had the good fortune to work with him on his long-running monthly The Sound and the Fury column for Guitar World magazine. In fact, his column proved so popular it ended up being a Hal Leonard book. This bad boy right here. Hurrah! Now, if you're a Kirk Hammett fan, you're probably pretty aware of these two following facts. Number one, he's pretty big on the importance of being able to use all four fingers of your fretboard hand, including the dreaded pinky. He's also a staunch advocate of warming up properly before going for broke, especially after he got a nasty case of tendinitis many moons ago. As a result, Kirk shared some great warm-up tips and exercises in his Guitar World column. My favorite of all the warm-up exercises Kirk showed us was also one of the most brutal. It was a sinister twist on the chromatic exercise almost every rock guitar player is taught at one time or another. This one right here. And so on and so forth, all the way up to the 15th position of the neck, using strict alternate picking, down, up, of course. Here's the last 48 notes of this long and arduous ascent. I think you get the point. Now, when you get to the 15th position, you can stop. Or if you really want to go for it and give yourself a great workout, you turn around and ascend the sucker just like this, all the way back to the open position. And so on and so forth until you get all the way up to here. Once again, here are the final 48 notes of said descent. As I'm sure you've just ascertained, you're moving vertically down and up the fretboard. This way, or back up this way. You're also using all four fingers of your fretboard hand on all six strings, ascending and then descending the pattern one fret at a time until the deed is done. This really is a good workout for all of your fretboard fingers, also your alternate picking, and also making darn sure your two hands are in total synchronization. In fact, if you do the whole thing up and back down the way I've just shown you, you'll end up playing a staggering 744, I repeat, 744 notes, assuming, of course, my dodgy math is in fact correct. Now, in case you're not familiar with this old chestnut of an exercise, there's a link to some tab for it in the video description below. That said, let's get on to the chromatic style exercise Kirk showed me. This one, as I've already mentioned, had a delightfully devilish twist, and he'd moved the pattern diagonally across the neck, one fret at a time. Here's what the first pass from the low E string to the high E string looks and sounds like, played slowly. And once again, we're using strict alternate picking here. Down, up, and so on. And again, even slower. As you can see and hear, on the low E string, he goes open, first fret, second fret, and third fret, just like this. So I'm just using my first, second, and third fingers, no pinky yet. But when you move to the A string, then the pinky comes into action because you start from the first fret followed by the second, third, and fourth, using one finger per fret, just like this. Then we move up another fret when we move to the D, so we go 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. And then so on across the G, then the B, then finally the high E string. And if we do it correctly, in the correct diagonal order, by the time we get to the high E string, our first finger will be at the 5th fret. So we're going. So that's your marker to tell you you've done it correctly. First string at the 5th fret. If you're not there, shame on you, do it again. Here's that first pass played one more time. Now, once we've arrived at the right frets on the high E string, namely the 5th fret with your first finger, we then continue with the index, middle and ring finger fretting order, and also keep the diagonally ascending pattern going as we go back across the neck from high E to low E, just like this. Make sense? So, once again, if we do the diagonal move correctly, we're going to end up with our first finger at the 10th fret of the low E string. So, once we get to the high E string, we then move up another fret, so we're going 6, 7, 8, 9 on the B string. Then, wait for it, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the G, just like this. And then we carry on going. If you don't arrive here, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go back, not just back to the 5th position on the high E string, but all the way up to ground zero, open low E string, and come back here. Get it right, it's worth it. And like I said, you've got well-defined markers, 5th fret, 10th fret. So this is what we've learnt thus far, played slowly. First finger, 10th fret. Nice. Now, assuming you haven't messed up and you've got all the way from open low E back to the 10th fret on the low E string, then guess what? We're going to go across the neck one more time, which means the following. We're going to go to the A string starting 11th fret and go 11, 12, 13, 14 like this. Then we're going to go over to the D string diagonally, so 1 fret higher, so 12, 13, 14, 15. And then so on and so forth. And there we are. Once again, my first finger is at a multiple of 5, 15 to be exact. So we've got open, 5th, 10th, 15. And this is our, yes, you've got it right marker. So once again, if you don't get here, go all the way back to the start. It's like chutes and ladders, if you will. Go back to ground zero and work back up. Now, assuming you've done this correctly, here is what the whole thing sounds like, played kind of sort of slowly with just an element of slop. Hurrah! I made it! 0, 5, 10, 15. Hopefully my wonderful explanation makes this perfectly clear. If not, don't worry, there's a link to some tab in the description below. As I'm sure you've already experienced, this dastardly diagonal chromatic climb definitely gets your fretboard fingers dancing like some form of demented spider. And don't forget, strict alternate picking is the order of the day here. So down, up, down, up, down, up on every darn string, okay? One of the things I really like about this ascent is its relatively quick movement from low to high on the neck. This means you have to keep adjusting your fingering as the spacing of the frets obviously gets tighter the higher you climb. And this really is a skill worthy of mastering. But wait, we're not done yet. This is only the first half of Kirk's diabolical diagonal chromatic exercise. We now have to turn around and play the whole thing quite literally in reverse. So we go 18, 17, 16, 15 on the high E, just like this. Then 17, 16, 15, 14 on the B, like this. Then 16, 15, 14, 13 on the G. And then we carry on all the way back up to the low E. And once again, there it is, my friend, the magic you've played it right marker with my first finger at the 10th fret. And as always, if you don't get there, go back to the start and get it right. Having successfully descended thus far, we carry on towards the high E again. So we go 12, 11, 10, 9 on the A, then 11, 10, 9, 8 on the D, and then so on and so forth till we get to the high E again. And there it is again, my friend. First finger at the 5th fret, our yes, you played it correctly marker. And this time, though, if you don't end up here, you are going to go all the way back to 18, 17, 16, 15 and get back to there. Having successfully descended thus far, this means we've only got 5 more strings to traverse diagonally, and then we're done. So B, G, D, A, and low E. So we move over to the B and we go 7, 6, 5, 4. Then over to the G, 6, 5, 4, 3. And then so on and so forth, and we do this. And remember, on the low E string, our little finger gets a break because we just go 3, 2, 1, open. And once again, if you've done this correctly, we end up with our penultimate note being the 1st fret on the low E string with our 1st finger, and our last note being the low E string open. And once again, sorry if you've got this wrong, you're all the way back to here. To here, to here, and then finally. And there you have it. Here's the whole descent played slowly one more time. Hurrah! A little bit sloppy, but good enough for rock and roll. Remember, my friend, build your speed up slowly and sensibly. As the saying goes, you can't run before you can walk, and in fact, you can't walk until you can crawl. Well, you can try, but if you do, you will stumble and probably fall down, and we want to avoid that. And there you have it, amigo. Kirk Hammett's diabolical diagonal chromatic exercise. See if you can seamlessly ascend and descend this sucker with articulate accuracy. It's deceptively difficult, darn it. Remember, look after these digits as well. They're the only ones you've got. I'm out. See ya. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, nicely of course please, and subscribe. Click here for more videos like this, and go to sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs. Thanks again so very much for watching. Goodbye.